In the analysis video, we came up with this plan for how to solve this task. But the first thing we need to do before we dive into our flowchart and write code is to create a new project. And now that we have our project, the first thing we need to do is to display the instructions that were given in the task. And after having added the instructions when the script starts, there are two things we need to do. We see here that we should declare a variable I is equal to 0. We will use that for our loop. And we want to declare total to 0 too, which is going to keep the running total when we add a new measurements. But looking at it now, I see that this I is equal to 0. We can actually declare that in the for loop when we create it. So for now, I'm going to skip this part and jump into total and say that total is equal to 0. Because now we come to the loop here. So I'm going to add the loop and then we're going to check that what I did conforms to this. Alright, so let's see what I did here and see if it matches what we have here. We said that, alright, we saved I is equal to 0 because that is something that we could do in the loop. So let's just check that we did that. Alright, we created a for loop here, and as we have said before, range will go from 0, which we have here, and up to 5, but 5 is not included. So right, we have this one, we have the condition, and let's see what we do inside of the loop. Alright, if it is still less than 5, if I is less than 5, what should we do? We should input the measurement. Alright, and when we call the input function, we can give a parameter or an argument. We can give an argument to the function to say that, all right, I want I to be printed. But what will happen if we do like this? Let's keep it like this for now and see what happens. But I want it to print I, or maybe I change it right away because we can't have colon in there. So we have to put the colon afterwards, because if we put it in here, it expects a formatting string, or we have to format the input, for example, say that it's 4 wide or something, but that's not what we're looking for. We want a colon afterwards. So we would have got an error if we kept it in there, but let's fix it right away. So we output the numbers, and then let's see what we have. Then we add the newly read value to the total. All right, let's try to run it and see what happens. We see here, all right, we get the message, but then it starts at 0, and preferably we want it to start at 1. So let's see if we can fix that. So here where we print it, we say that, all right, print +1, and now we run it again. All right, what's the first measurement? It's 10, the second one is 10, the third is 9, and then we add a few more. Right, so it actually goes through the loop 5 times. Now let's just check what we should do afterwards. We should calculate the average. And that would be the total divided by 5. Because we have 5 measurements. And after that, we are supposed to display the average. So let's do a print. And let's print your average is, and then we print whatever we calculate it to be. So let's try to run it. Measurement number 1 is 10, second one is 10, 30 is 9, and then we have 10 and 11. And we see here that your average is 10, which makes sense, but we have the decimal number here, And maybe we want that so that in case we have an uneven number, we add the decimal. It wasn't like that in the task, but I think we will keep it in case we don't have nice values like we have here. And what should we take with us from this task? I think it's important to remember how to use the for loop. That is what we're practicing now to work with loops, and one of them is the count controlled one, the for loop, and it is important to remember how it works. One other thing that we might remember, or that we might run into in the future, I should say, is that we want to use this index inside a loop for something. For example, printing the number like we did down here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we can use that inside a loop. So that is also something that we could remember for the future.